Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just DCTV, but more specifically, Gotham Knights. Yes, the upcoming new DCTV show on the CW, which I really haven't talked about too much, just because I'm one of those people who's like, well, if I don't really have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, but they released a new trailer, let's watch it, and we're going to talk about it.
Grand larceny, assault.
Are you really the Joker's daughter? Is that why you murdered Batman?
I am gonna find who did this.
With no Batman, who's gonna solve the murder of Bruce Wayne?
They think I killed my dad because I wanted his money?
I'm Robin. We have to go.
We're gonna find who really killed my dad.
Look around. A bunch of thieves turned fugitives. Joker's delusional daughter. A sidekick. Batman's orphan.
Anybody want to give me a crash course on being a vigilante?
We will no longer live in fear.
Their new heroes are also their most wanted fugitives.
Time to pick a side.
Gotham Knights. New series premieres Tuesday, March 14th, only on the CW.
So this comes out the same night as Superman and Lois Season 3. So they premiere on the same night, that being March the 14th. So just under 2 months away. Or if you want to look at it like when The Flash comes out, just over a month away. Now these were shorter trailers for both Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights. I think Gotham Knights was a bit longer. But they might get another trailer in about a month's time or 3 weeks' time around the time The Flash comes out. And then they'll play that leading up to the March 14th premiere. That's a wait and see. I have no idea if that's actually going to happen, but it could. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, before we get into anything in regards to breaking down and talking about this stuff, and just, I guess, concerns over it, let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on this. Did this trailer make you feel anything different about the show? I must say the trailer, this time around, is better than the first one, but I don't know if that's saying too much. So you let me know your thoughts are on that in the comment section down below. And if there's anything of interest from it that you think, could be interesting about the show going forward. And just any other thoughts down there, and also any theories if you want to put them in there based off what we talk about. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, want to show support and everything like that, want to drop a like on the video to do all that. Now, my expectations before we saw anything from this show back in the middle of last year, or towards the middle of last year, whenever it was I didn't really expect much, because it was using that thing that people didn't really like, where it's like, oh, well, it's a Batman show without Batman. We've had so many of those so far. We had one around the time this trailer came out. I think it might have been cancelled just before the trailer came out, which was Batwoman. It was a Batman show or Gotham based show without Batman, or at least Batman as a major player. And then we had like Gotham for all those years and stuff like that. There'd been like Birds of Prey in the early 2000s or whatever it was as well. So, I was like, okay, well, I don't really know what to expect. And then like the synopsis came out, it listed some characters, and it could have been interesting, but at the same time, it depends what the execution is. And that's why when that first trailer came out, it wasn't that impressive, because the execution didn't look that impressive. But this time around, the trailer does look a bit better, but once again, that might not be saying much. But let's talk about it more in depth. So to start off the trailer, we do get to meet the first group of suspects for the murder of Bruce Wayne, including Harper Row, Cullen Row, and Duella. Now, I think, is it Harper Row is Bluebird, I think, in the comics, but yeah, I'm pretty sure at least. But Harvey Dent does bring up their prior charges, and I guess why they'd be suspicious of these three kids. And we can then see Harvey actually question Duella as to whether she is actually the daughter of the Joker. Now, in the comics, she's known as the Joker's daughter, but she's not actually the actual biological daughter of the Joker. It's more like an inspiration thing, I guess. But this is like an adaptation. It's almost like a borderline Elseworld story, so they could legitimately make her the Joker's daughter if they want to. Now, we do get to see once again the body of Bruce Wayne, like we did in the initial trailer that they released last year. And there has been a lot of back and forth around the silliness and goofiness, if you want to call it, of him wearing his Batman mask while wearing this random tuxedo, as if he's going to like a masquerade party or whatever they're called. But a good theory around there is that the person who murdered Bruce Wayne killed him while he was just Bruce Wayne, but actually knew he was Batman. So he wasn't murdered while wearing that mask, but the mask was put on him after he was killed, so the public would know that Bruce Wayne was Batman. Now, of course, you have to think, oh, well, that's just a lame excuse. Is there any other evidence to say that he was Batman? Maybe there is. We don't get everything in the trailer. Why would they explain everything in the trailer? But if that's the only connection as to why people would go, oh my God, Bruce Wayne was Batman, then it makes it a bit weird in my opinion. But once again, we'll have to wait until the actual episode or pilot episode to come out. But him actually, having the mask put on him after he was, he was killed does make more sense than Bruce randomly wearing the mask while wearing the tuxedo. Like, why wouldn't you just wear the entire suit? Now, I'm going to assume that those three suspects of Harper Row, Cullen Row, and Duella were around the area at the time of the murder. Maybe even that some of their DNA is put on the body. I don't know. Once again, we'll wait and see. Now, another suspect is Bruce Wayne's adoptive son, Turner Hayes, who is apparently an original character for this show, and is also, as I said, a suspect for the murder due to suspicion that he did the murder or committed the murder to inherit Bruce Wayne's fortune, or at least was a part of it to inherit that fortune. Now, is Turner Hayes his actual name, or is it a cover name that Bruce gave him? Like, maybe he is the son of someone else with a prominent name from the comics in Gotham City. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. Maybe he's the son of a villain that maybe Batman accidentally killed or, died, committing a crime and there was that son left. I'm not too sure. It could be something along those lines because there is a plethora of characters that Bruce has taken into his household that the show could use. Of course, like we have Dick Grayson on Titans and stuff like that, but they could use some other ones if they wanted to, even if it was a female character as well, which they have one of them, like a female Robin. Actually, they have two female Robins in this show, and that could have been the adoptive child, but I don't know. They went with Turner Hayes, which is a made-up name, so we'll wait and see if it's a cover name or not. Yeah, I have no idea which way they're going to go with it. Now, one thing I caught in the trailer, which I didn't see many people talking about, but then I guess, that most people were just shitting on the show online, so I guess people weren't actually paying attention to the trailer too in depth. But I'm pretty sure these are the mutants from The Dark Knight Returns, and they're raiding a party here. Like, I remember the mutants, or a form of them, did appear on Gotham, the TV show, and I'm purely basing this potentially being the mutants just off the glasses, and also this guy in the middle with, like, the bald guy with the glasses. He looks like the leader from the comics. Now, obviously, this is just an adaptation, as I said, like almost like an Elseworlds type of story for the most part, and for the Batman mythos. So they can just have random characters show up in different situations. It doesn't have to really line up to, well, this didn't happen until Bruce was blah, blah, blah. It's Elseworlds as an adaptation. Batman's dead, so they can do what they want, I guess. But yeah, this does look like a form of the mutants. Maybe it's like a case of, because Batman's dead, you see all these groups uprising that would have been scared to do it before, or they were operating in like different areas, and now they feel more comfortable to come into like the richer parts of Gotham and stuff and try and do their crimes there. Now, we do get to meet Carrie Kelly, who was one of the Robins I was referring to earlier in the video, who actually was working with Batman currently and is known as Robin at the moment. Now, she is one of the few characters that does seem interesting out of the gate for the show based off what we've seen in the trailers, and that just seems more based off the fact that she has worked with Batman and would have some idea on the criminal side of Gotham and all that, and who could potentially be responsible for what happened to Bruce Wayne. So she's interesting because she's tapped in. If she was like another noob, if you want to call it, then maybe she wouldn't be that interesting, but she has some experience and seems like she's going to be the actual fighter of the group, like the one that can actually handle themselves in a battle, if you want to call it. So maybe that's where the interest is, that's where the interest stems from. Now, we do get to see this Gotham City police officer or detective being killed by this assailant with a retractable sword. And I'm not 100% sure who this is, because we also do see someone later in the trailer that appears to be the Talon, or the Talon, whichever way you want to pronounce it, fighting Carrie Kelly and Turner Hayes later in the trailer. But it looks a bit different. Like, the first person looks like almost like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man suit from the first Spider-Man movie with like sunglass shade things glued to the suit. Like, that's what it looks like. They look different. So I don't know if it's like this is like a beta Talon early in the season, and then the next one is something from a later episode. Like the one that actually looks sort of like the one from the comic is from a later episode. I'm not too sure. But they're both using swords, so maybe it's meant to be like a misdirect of sorts for people within the actual show, like the characters. It's like, oh, well, this person was killed by a sword. We're fighting a dude with a sword. They must be the same person, and maybe there's someone different. So maybe the Talon is a complete misdirect in regards to the murder of Bruce Wayne, and maybe the actual person that killed the detective is attached to that Bruce Wayne murder. But with the Talon being there, it makes you go, does that mean we're bringing in the Court of Owls, or is it just, once again, like an Elseworlds thing that's just a a character we got the rights to actually use on the show, so let's just use them. But that's clearly the Talon. Now, whether it's an individual person or a group, that's a wait and see. But yeah, they're using that character. Now, Gotham Clock Tower is seen in the trailer, and we can see them within there by the looks of it, which is where both Oracle and the Birds of Prey have worked from in the comics. But in the trailer, it does look like abandoned and like to have not been used for a while. So it makes you wonder whether this will be like the Gotham Knights base, and like they use some of the stuff that Oracle and Birds of Prey have used in the past. Where those characters are, question mark. Maybe they're dead. Maybe they've left the city. Who knows? But if the tech in the clock tower works, then maybe they could use it. But then again, they could have the Batcave, which would be the better thing to use, which you also see in the trailer, which is a pretty sweet Batcave. It's better than the Batwoman and Titans Batcaves that we've seen on TV previously. So that's some positive stuff for the show in comparison to the previous Gotham show iterations. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if the clock tower holds like intel that allows them to sort of maybe piece events and maybe even people from years in the past and, years of Bruce being Batman that could lead to who actually committed the murder or who got someone else to do it. So maybe there's like a conspiracy in regards to like hiring someone that just like different breadcrumbs and they have to follow it throughout the season. Now, I don't think it's going to be too big of a shock if multiple people are connected to this in some way, but yeah, once again, it's a wait and see. And we do get to meet Stephanie Brown briefly, who is asking about them, like teaching her how to be a vigilante pretty quickly. Now, she is a character mostly known as Spoiler from the comics, but also has been Batgirl and also been, I think, Robin as well. Now, she is the daughter of a villain known as Clue Master in the comics, and I'd assume that's going to be the case on the show as well. And I think they're going to make her the tech sort of person in this group. But once again, that's a wait and see, but it seems like it, especially based off the character description for the character. It mentions that like she's good at coding and stuff like that, so she's probably going to be like a techie sort of character that maybe can fight if needed. Now, what is the biggest problem with this show? And look, I know there's going to be people that probably could write like 4 paragraphs in the comments, but the simple thing to me is, and it's based off just a first impressions thing when I watched it, you can say it's bad writing and stuff, but you don't know that until the episode airs. But based off the trailer, it just seems dated. And I've said this before, it just seems so dated. It seems like a show from, I don't know, the mid to maybe late 2000s if you're being generous. It just seems to be the perfect blend, if you want to put it, of the worst of DCTV. I can see the worst parts of Titans in here. I can see the worst parts of Batwoman in here and some of the worst parts of the other elements of the Arrowverse in here. Like, I saw a tweet, I think it was replying to when I posted the trailer on Twitter, and it pretty much summed it up, and it was like, this is everything that people like mostly falsely accuse the Arrowverse of being. Like, this show is what people were talking about when they tried to slam the Arrowverse as like, being a bad thing. This is what they were talking about, and I can't disagree with that. This is just a perfect blend of all the worst parts of whether it's the Arrowverse shows or like a show like Batwoman specifically, because it is another Gotham show, or something like Titans as well. Like, even the filter looks like it's all dark and dreary like what Titans is, which doesn't really help the show in regards to being like an uplifting show of sorts. That's what it just seems like, the perfect blend there. Now, can we sit here and go, well, could we be surprised? And I think the answer to that is, if you are completely against the show from the get-go and you want it to fail, then probably no, nothing's going to swap you. I'm in the middle ground. I don't really care what happens with the show. If it surprises me, it surprises me. But based off what I've seen so far, it just seems meh, it just seems dated, as I said before. But I think there's actually a decent framework there for this show to have worked, but it depends on the execution. I think having something where you follow like the history of Gotham and, over these years that Batman's operated and trying to figure out what happened to him and who murdered him, that creates an interesting story, but it's about the execution, and everything I've seen in the trailer doesn't seem that great. I think having too many supporting characters here, I don't think we need this Gotham Knights thing. I think you probably could have just had a show with Carrie Kelly and Turner Hayes, and that's it, and it would have worked. I think it would work better as a show than what we're getting here. But that's a wait and see. You don't really get too much of the individual characters here because there is so many things going on. They're more trying to pitch this story for the season rather than the actual characters. And maybe that could be the mistake there, just because I'm feeling like it doesn't really have to be that many characters. But we'll wait and see how it shows up. Obviously, I don't think many people's hopes are that high, but I'm always going to give something a chance because you can always be surprised. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome. You could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on this. Are you going to give Gotham Knights a chance? Are you going to give it 1 episode, maybe 3 or 4? I usually give a show about 3 episodes before I decide whether it's got any hope. So I suggest the same, but you might want to give it 1, or you're not even going to bother with it. You're just not going to touch it at all. Let me know in the comment section down below, as well as any other thoughts you have on the trailer as well. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.